everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mandy de Grace. I am a Reiki practitioner, a wellness lover, and a spiritual seeker. So for today's episode, we have a very special guest, my friend Stephanie Sunshine. Stephanie Sunshine is a herbalist and a womb wellness coach, specializing in reproductive health and women's empowerment. She offers one-on-one coaching, fertility, pregnancy, and wild home birth support, as well as a variety of workshops online and in the mountain region. So without further ado, here is our guest, Stephanie. Hi, I'm so happy to have my friend Stephanie on the show today. How are you doing, Stephanie?
I am so good. The sun is shining. It is a beautiful sunny Sunday.
It's so cool
amazing.
because I can see the sun from your side and mine is on the other side. It's like right in the middle of us right now.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I
It's like
love
we're right
that.
together.
We are. So, me and Stephanie, we met through our mutual friend, Christy. I host these circles where I live in Moncton, and she was one of my friend's guests. And like instantly when I met her, I thought like this woman is amazing. Like she has so much wisdom, I can feel it. And that's why I asked her to come on my show, because I thought like it would be really interesting for you to have this platform to share with my followers what you know and your wisdom.
Aw, thank you so much.
I'm really happy to have you here today.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. So maybe we could start by you describing what you do for work.
Okay, so I do a lot. Essentially, I'm a herbalist and a womb wellness coach. Um, so there's kind of a lot going into the package there, but with herbalism, it's a lot about plant medicines and wild medicines and learning, reconnecting with nature. But that also goes hand in hand with womb wellness. Um, and then, so womb wellness is more like getting more in touch with our wombs and relearning the teachings and how to nurture and nourish our cycles and overcome traumas. And yeah, there's a lot to it.
That's really cool. So do you think that those two work together, the herbalism and the womb healing?
Absolutely. So kind of my top thing is honoring the sacred feminine. So to me,
Beautiful.
the sacred feminine is, it's plant medicines and it's the moon and it's the earth and it's balance between the feminine and the masculine and it's
Mhm.
womb healing and really diving within yourself and, all those different layers that you can tap into to really awaken your power as a woman and a person in general, really.
That's so beautiful. I love the way you speak.
Thank
So
you.
your brand is Earthmoon Womb. So you told me the other day that was kind of like your three main pillars in your what you offer. Can you kind of describe what you mean by that, or?
Yeah, so Earth Moon Womb essentially is an opportunity for me to support, educate, and empower women to connect with their sacred feminine. And those just kind of being the pillars of, like I was saying, what the sacred feminine is and really helps us awaken. So again, earth being plant medicines and reconnecting with Mother Earth as a goddess, and being very grounded, but then also the moon and taking in like the cosmos and a different light of divinity and flowing with our cycles, intentionally with the full moons and the new moons and going through those natural waves of life, death, rebirth that we get every cycle, and then integrating the womb healing, and nourishment and care for self, because the womb is our home, our energetic home of self. It's the portal to life. It's where we contain everything, our life force energy within us. So yeah, all of those things kind of come together in a beautiful little bouquet of feminine amazingness.
I love that. I think that that title is brilliant. I love it, and I love the way you explained that to us. I think it's definitely something that you don't see every day. The work that you offer is very unique, so you're very needed, and I am excited to learn more about what you do. Um, so yeah, so what got you into this stuff? Is it something that you were always interested in, or did something happen in your life and you went into that?
So I think like most people, when you find your passion work and your true virtue, there's a lot of little and big somethings that happen. So
Makes sense.
like the plant medicines and connecting with earth. I mean, I've always been a hippie and a nature lover, just
Cute.
like and playing in gardens and getting my hands in the dirt um and even as a kid, like I can remember picking up little plants and picking needles off trees and eating them and being like, is this good for me? What's in this? Like, what do I get out of this? And always being so curious. So um, eventually it came to a point where I wanted to really dive into a form of education around health and wellness. And when you go down kind of your true path and you just let life guide you, um, as you know, the synchronicities just happen. So someone
Mhm.
just handed me a book for a herbalism course, and I read the first page and was like, yeah, this is my jam right here. This is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, and then the moon part of it came when I started following some First Nations elders,
Wow.
and they were doing full and new moon ceremonies in the very traditional practice. And I was instantly so connected to it, the sacredness and the traditions and the stories, and really honoring the balance of the feminine and the masculine, and honoring a divinity that's around us all the time, that we can actually see. Like we
Yeah.
can see the moon all the time, every
Mhm.
day, unless it's cloudy, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's there and we can feel it. Like we really, there's so much evidence that it's there, and it made so much sense to me.
Mhm.
um,
Love
and
it.
then the womb wellness part came kind of in a few different ways, but like the big thing for me was I experienced 3 miscarriages, and when the third one happened, like a lot of people, when you go into the holistic field, the medical field kind of failed you. So you're
Right.
looking for answers outside of that. So I went into holistic reproductive practitioner training, which is essentially doula training, but with like a whole lot of tools in the basket.
Okay.
Um, and that really helped me dive into my own womb healing and how to help others nurture that space and overcome fertility struggles and heal from womb traumas like miscarriages and
Right.
loss and or traumatic birth experiences and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Mhm.
um yeah, there's a lot.
That's
It's a
really
big
interesting. Thank
journey.
you for sharing that story with us. Um, you're doing a very important job in supporting other women that have been through the same thing that you've been through. There's so much strength in there, and I admire you for that.
Thank you. It is really important for us to hold space for each other and to be
Mhm.
there. Like the
Mhm.
it wasn't something that was talked about for so long. Like, miscarriages, you're expected to just go to work the next day and not even
Same.
mourn the loss that you've
Yeah.
experienced,
Hmm.
or, being so completely disconnected from our cycles and how to nourish them and nurture them and flow with them. Like it's just
Hmm.
so normal in the medical system for, you've to have bad cramps. That's normal. That's what Tylenol and Advil is made for, doctors say. Like,
Yeah.
but not just because it's normal doesn't mean it should be normal. Like
Right.
it's not within our normal selves. So
Hmm.
yeah, and the more like we have a right to this information. Every woman
We
has a right
should.
to this. And yeah, if I'm not going to do it, someone's got to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Wonderful. Do it. Yeah. So in society, what do you see is a very common problem amongst women when it comes to um, their bodies and healing and trauma and all these things for you?
Well, one hugely common problem is debilitating periods.
Yeah,
Like women not being able to get out of bed and like keeled over in pain or like nauseous or dizzy, having to take sick days from school and work and, being pumped full of like really heavily medicated drugs just to be able to function. Like that has become the normal, and
yeah,
almost every woman I talk to has experienced debilitating period cramps, and that's most of the time is a really easy fix. So that's what's just like so crazy to me, is that disconnect, that we could really easily just say like, here's some raspberry leaf tea, drink this, and your cramps will not be so painful.
I mean, I've never even heard about that before. So it's like, yes, the knowledge needs to be shared. I personally had a lot of problems with my period as well up until I had a Mirena put in. But I remember it was horrible. I had to miss high school, like some days of high school and some days of university at the time. And my God, yeah, if that works, I mean, that has to be shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to it, right? Like some people have different conditions that make their cramps worse. And also,
For sure.
if we're carrying a lot of traumas or, um, not expelling stuff properly, like there's a whole lot of layers to it. But most of the time, like raspberry leaf is such a good womb and reproductive health medicine that like
Yeah.
every woman should be taking from like 10 years old and up on the regular. Like it's so gentle, it's so nourishing, and it helps the uterus maintain its strength as a muscle so it can contract and expel all of the tissues, and but also on an energetic level
Mm-hmm.
heal the stuff behind it that we're releasing and dying off every cycle. And
Right, right, right.
to not realize that we're releasing a form of death within us makes us just seal that darkness within us, and gradually as you go on the cramps are going to get worse and worse unless you nurture that.
Exactly. It's very important to know. So raspberry leaves, for people
Yeah,
who are listening, write that down for their period cramps and just healing your womb, I'm imagining.
yeah, and it's good for all genders, like any,
Okay,
it's good for all reproductive health, but I
right,
really express the importance of it for womb bearers because it really makes all the difference. So
right.
you just drink it however many times throughout the month that you can think to drink it. Or if you really want to target like bad period cramps, then drink it every day for the week leading up to your period.
Okay.
And like, I promise you, you will notice a huge difference. So
Okay,
yes,
amazing.
please write this down and start right away.
Yes.
Organic raspberry leaves.
So, speaking of herbalism, can you maybe name like 3 to 4 teas or herbs that you would recommend, like as somebody that's a total beginner in this area?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Um, so I already named raspberry leaf. Let's just
Yes.
say it again, raspberry leaf. Get it? Because it's so
Yeah.
important. Um, and dandelion is another hugely important one for everyone because, like, so dandelion targets our livers, and really helps the function of our liver, but it helps everything else along the way, like your digestive system, and the liver is also helps regulate your hormones. So, and a lot of people have trouble with unbalanced hormones. So if we can target our liver, we're targeting our digestive system, our endocrine system, and then everything else kind of falls into place with that. And it has anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory,
Wow.
all these properties that we want. Like it's so nourishing, and it
Mhm.
grows everywhere. Like it's so easily accessible. Like even to buy it in a supplement, it's really cheap. But spring to fall, you can collect the leaves, the flowers, the roots, and use it in so many different ways and really get good, solid medicine out of it. Again, that's super gentle and easy for anyone to take.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then another one of my favorites is rose. So
Okay.
either rose petals or rose hips. Rose hips are super high in vitamin C, so really great for immune boosting, of course. And then rose petals are just such a nice, like, heart healing, womb healing, beauty inducing. Like it just, you see a rose, you smell a rose, you put rose petals, like we see this everywhere. It has such an essence of love and beauty and so
Mhm.
soft. Like to feel a rose petal
Yeah.
is so soft and so beautiful, and again so gentle and easy to integrate in all different ways, and
Mm-hmm. In the
great in
bath.
cooking, great in tea, great in bath, like
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
um and then something like lemon balm or holy basil,
Okay.
just because this world is so full of anxiety. Everybody's got
Yeah.
some form of anxiety in some
Yeah.
sort of situation, right? And
Yeah.
both of those are really great for targeting anxiety and helping to uh, relax our nervous system and just feel more balanced and at ease,
Makes
and
sense.
delicious and beautiful plants.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I'm
My
excited to try some of them. Do you do all of them in a tea, or how does that work, Billy?
So yeah, you can. It's really about finding like where you like to integrate them.
Okay.
So for me, I take a dandelion capsule, or I'll open up the capsule and put the powder in my smoothie every day.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
but then I also make like a chai chaga latte with dandelion and burdock and a bunch of other herbs in there.
Okay.
Um, and then you can eat the leaves and eat the flowers and do all kinds of things with it. Um, yeah, just really finding the way that makes sense for you. Like some people, rose to get an elixir and put it in their water makes the most sense. Or some people, it's easier to get this stuff in your bath. But yeah, a tea, like you just have these loose herbs and toss them all
Mhm.
into your tea or your waters or your cooking. Like
Yeah. Makes sense. You can incorporate them into different ways of ingesting and
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. That's like, if we're going to be healthy, we have to find the ways that work for us, right? Like
Hmm.
I can suggest so many different ways, but it took me a while to integrate them, to find the way that worked for me, that
Yeah.
it's just easy, right? But if someone tells us to do something and it's in a complicated way that just doesn't fit into our schedule, we're
That's
not going
very
to keep
true.
up with it.
Hmm.
So yeah, find what works for you.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about what you offer for the womb pillar in your work.
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually going to be launching a womb awakening journey
Okay.
in March, very soon.
Awesome.
So 3-month journey that can tackle anything womb related, whether that's self-worth, sexual traumas, period issues, fertility struggles,
Beautiful.
loss, grief, anything that we carry within our wombs,
Hmm.
tackling that, but also allowing the space to dive in and clear out what isn't serving and awaken that true purpose and power within us.
Yeah.
Because, like I said in the beginning, our womb is our portal to life. It's the creatrix of life. It's everything.
Hmm.
So when we can tap into that, like there's so much wisdom and intuition and power that we can gain when we really, really nurture and honor that space within ourselves.
Oh, I love that. You're so amazing.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Thank you. I'm really excited to, I'm definitely gonna go to one of your workshops sometimes. I need to learn more about this. It's so fascinating to me. Um,
Oh, yes. So sorry to cut you off, but I should actually, because you were asking what else I do for the womb stuff. So I'm also going to be doing um, what I'm calling empowered wombhood
okay,
workshops. So I'm thinking like every other Wednesday.
that's nice. Is it online or in person?
Yeah, it'll be an online thing. So absolutely anyone can attend and it'll be free. And I'll also post the recordings on YouTube. And that's allowing the space for me to, educate and give everyone this knowledge that we have every right to have, right? So yeah, that's another thing that I'll be offering for people to just, come in and see what calls to them and connect with what, the practices that make sense for them at the time.
That's really cool. I'll definitely put the link in my caption for the video and for the podcast. So whoever's interested in that can contact you for sure.
Awesome.
Awesome. So I was also wondering, like, with everything that you have right now, where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years? Is there something you want to uh, create to bring to life? What does that look like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, within the next year, so I'm creating like the womb awakening journeys and then a herbal awakening journey as well. So this one will be local. So people in, the Moncton, New Brunswick general region.
Mhm.
It's going to be a 3-month course from May, June, July, where you get to learn about wild medicines and really tap into those and connect with earth and so much more than just like a basic herbalism course, but also really diving into the sacredness and honoring and living in a harmonic life with nature.
Really cool.
So yeah, there's that. I have a whole lot of projects that are coming out, so just check out my website and you'll see those. But
Yeah.
kind of just building on that, those awakenings of the sacred feminine and facilitating space for women to really connect with that and grow and blossom in this high time of divine feminine where like life is just totally in line for us to completely shine and blossom and follow our power and our passions. Um, and then like 5 years, ideally, I would love to be the womb witch of a intentional community
You
out here in
already
the East
are.
Coast. But yeah, I would like to be living in like an off-grid intentional community. Hopefully can build that. I have some land out in Cape Breton that I'm
Oh,
considering putting it on, but
that's pretty
just
cool.
have to find my people to build that tribe in that space. And
Mm.
yeah, and then 10 years, that's so far away. I have
Sorry.
no idea. I'm just going to let life take me that way.
Good idea. That's a
Yeah.
good way to go at it. All right. Thank you so much for the work that you do on behalf of women. Like, we really need this. And I'm excited to see what's to come for you because I know it's going to be big things.
Thanks.
Before we end the episode, I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of a goddess?
Oh, that's such a good question. There's there's so many layers to that. I think every person has a goddess in them, no matter what gender you recognize as, you
Mhm.
have that energy within you. Um, but I suppose someone that's really integrating and shining that goddess light would be the one that's connected with their divine feminine, but in a balance with the divine masculine and
Mhm.
nurturing themselves and really really aligning with their purpose or their highest self, I guess, to to shine in the best way they can, to show up in life in their best self.
Lovely answer. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Hello Goddess podcast. And for everybody who wants more information about Stephanie Sunshine, I'm going to give you all of the links in the show notes on my podcast or in the description on YouTube. So again, thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your wisdom. And it was amazing to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Mandy. Your podcast is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Oh.
It's so like I love how you just touch on like all the most essential pieces to living a full thriving life.
Thank
Like, and
you.
just
Oh.
so on point and so quick and so easy to integrate, and you have this beautiful voice and such a loving personality. It's an absolute pleasure to share this space with you on your Hello Goddess podcast.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual for sure. Thank you so much for saying that. Makes me happy to get feedback on my podcast. It's my baby. Bye, Stephanie.
Thanks, Mandy. Bye.
Bye. So this concludes today's episode. I hope you learned something new from Stephanie today. I definitely love interviewing people like her and spreading the knowledge. I will see you guys next week. Sending you all of the love, all of the light, and the Reiki energy. Bye!